Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. Awesome honor and a privilege to have you guys here with me today as we are all here. A bunch of friends standing around a virtual water cooler talking about our favorite things in the world. Now, every day on the John Campea Show, we save some time to take live questions. But here in the afternoon, that's all we do. We just come together real casual and just talk some movies for a little while. Now, I may have to cut today's, I say this all the time and I never do cut it short, but I might have to cut today's shows a little bit short. I gotta get ready for the ceremony tonight that I'm very much looking forward to. And myself and fact checker Jonathan and his wonderful wife Laura all going out to the Skirball Center here in Los Angeles, California for the ceremony tonight. Should be a lot of fun. But let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it because we already got a whole bunch of live questions queued up and waiting to go. This is the final broadcast of the week. Of course, we're going to have some companion videos up over the weekend. I'm about 75 questions behind. I'm about 75 questions behind. So I've got like probably a good 3 or 4 companion videos I got to make this weekend. So we'll have those, but this is going to be the last live stream of the weekend. And then, of course, we'll be back live streaming Monday morning on the John Campea Show, our main movie news show, of course. Okay, with that out of the way, let's hop right to it. And the first emailed or live question here today comes to us from Kyle B, who writes, so how do you like Better Call Saul? I think it's a slow burn, but very intriguing, and the acting is great. The acting is great. I think I'm on episode 9 now of season 1. So I've got a number of shows that you guys tell me to watch. So I've got a few queued up. So right now I'm on Better Call Saul. And like I said, I'm up to about season 1, episode 9 now. I started just a couple days ago. Once I'm done that, I'm going to go to The Expanse because I've had so many of you guys tell me I need to watch The Expanse, so I'm going to get onto that. But yeah, so far, I am like it. It is a slow burn. But I'm telling you, I love his brother character. For those of you who don't know, the brother is the lead singer of... why am I forgetting the name of the fake metal band? Why am I forgetting the name? It Goes to 11. What's the name of the band? Why am I freezing on the name of that? It's the name of the band. The name of it was This Is, and I'm forgetting it. I'm freezing on it. But the guy who plays Saul's brother, or Jimmy's brother, is the lead singer of the band. This Is... Why am I forgetting that? Guys, in the chat board, help me out here. What's the name of the band? This is... The name of the documentary is This Is... Spinal Tap. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Why was I kept on wanting to say Motorhead, but I knew it wasn't Motorhead. That's Lemmy. But anyway, the guy who plays Saul's brother was the lead singer of Spinal Tap. So a lot of people I didn't realize about it. It was really great seeing him in there. The story's great. The Mike story arc is great. I'm really enjoying it so far. Okay, Ben Hayusa writes, Game of Death. This morning I was saying... Damn, what was the name of the Bruce Lee movie that he fought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Game of Death. Thank you, Ben. Game of Death is the Bruce Lee film where he fought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Also, another topic. It seems The Nun is probably the best marketing for a horror film, in my opinion. I wouldn't say that. I think it's a pretty good marketing campaign. I certainly don't think it's the best marketing campaign that I've ever seen. Just go back to last year. I thought its marketing campaign was better than The Nun's. Now, I mean, The Nun might end up being a better movie than it, but yeah, man, I don't see it. Personally, I don't see how The Nun's ad campaign is better than its or a lot of others. I think it's a good marketing campaign, but I'll be honest with you, man, I don't see it as being anything exceptional. But, hey, we'll see how many people gets to go to the theaters. That'll probably answer that pretty quick. Patrick Conway writes, I have a confession. I hate Wizard of Oz. Really? Wow. I mean, I got to admit, Patrick, you're rare. There are not many people I have ever come across in my existence that don't at least like Wizard of Oz. I mean... Everybody likes Wizard of Oz. Not everybody loves Star Wars. Not everybody likes The Godfather. Not everybody likes Goodfellas. Everybody likes Wizard of Oz. You are the first person I've ever heard say they don't. So you are unique in this world, my friend. All right, Sebastian writes, I'm new to the chat, as the room points out. With that said, John, your transition from AMC impresses me, a layman, impresses a layman like me. Grab your wife and enjoy tonight. 135,000 subscribers. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I think we're about to cross, or we just did cross. We're getting close to 135,000 subscribers. which is great. I'm super thrilled for the growth. Just really got things rolling again last year. So, yeah, everything's good, and we're going to have a good time tonight. So thank you for the kind words, Sebastian. I appreciate that. Patrick follows up with, my issue with Man of Steel, it's too dark. I can't see a thing. Well, look, I mean, Man of Steel does get criticism for the color palette and the color grading that they use in the film, and I think that's a legitimate complaint. I do. I think they could have gone a little richer in the color, a little brighter in the color. I've never had any scenes that I couldn't see what was going on, or I couldn't see that what was happening. Like, it's not dark. You know, what I do think is a fair criticism is the color grading. They desaturate a lot of the colors, they bring the tone down a bit, and there are scenes where that works. But overall, yeah, I mean, they should have had a better color grade. They should have left the colors a little more saturated. They should have had it a little bit brighter. I gotta say though, Patrick, I've never seen any scene in that movie that I couldn't tell what was going on. So that's an experience I can't relate to. I didn't share that experience. But yes, the coloring and the tone of it, fair criticism, I think, of the movie, despite the fact that I love it. All right, Murray Reich writes, Happy Times was a blast. The two cops' chemistry were great. The puppets were hilarious. I enjoyed it so much. I wish the film was like maybe 10 minutes longer, but I left with a big smile. Sequel maybe, if it makes money? Well, I don't know that's going to make a lot of money. I mean, this is just one of those movies that is just probably never been destined to make a lot of money, right? I mean, right from the trailers of Happy Time Murders, and I had a big kick with that movie. I liked that movie a lot. But you could tell right from the trailers that instantly this movie was going to alienate half of the movie-going audience. And I think they knew that. But, I mean, the trailer was what the trailer was. You either loved it or you hated it. And just like that, that was a trailer that was going to alienate half the movie-going audience. Fair enough. They knew what their audience target was, and they weren't afraid to go after it. So, I think this is a movie that'll break even, make a little bit of money. If it does make a little bit of money, hey look, sequels are always on the table. We'll have to wait and see. I'm just not so sure it'll make that much money that makes it feel like they have to make a sequel. But I dug the movie nonetheless. I thought it was real fun. I'm glad you had a good time with it, Murray. All right, Dead Dog Productions writes, I'm still angry about The Nice Guys underperforming. I adored that movie. I love Shane Black. Let's hope The Predator makes some money. Well, I'm not going to hope that till I see it. Like, let me see if it's worthy of people going to go see it first, right? Like, as of right now, I have no idea if the movie's going to be good, if it's going to be bad. Who knows? I do know that I like Shane Black a lot as a director. And what he did with The Nice Guys is amazing. And it's one of those films that whenever I hear somebody complain about Hollywood doesn't do anything original anymore. Shut up. You didn't go see The Nice Guys. That is super original, and you didn't go support it, so don't complain about anything else. And by the way, there's more original films being made today than at any other time in Hollywood history. Just, get your facts straight. But yeah, that's a frustrating one, man. Nice Guys is such an excellent movie. It was original. It was different. It was fun. It had great, momentum to it. It was a wonderful movie. And hardly anybody saw it. And well, there you go, guys. There you go. Let's see. Nathan Oswald writes, Pfeiffer Catwoman in a skin-tight leather outfit. Look, Anne Hathaway looked great. There have been other actresses that look great. Give me Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman any day of the week. Give me Michelle Pfeiffer today as Catwoman any day of the week. One of the sexiest women ever in Hollywood. One of the most talented, intelligent, super sharp women in Hollywood. Catwoman. Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman was pretty awesome. All right. Dakota Barber writes, Skyfall is so great. Probably my favorite Bond film. Yeah, you're not alone. A lot of people. I'm a little bit torn because I loved Casino Royale. Like, I think I like Casino Royale more than most people did. Because most people now are like, Skyfall, greatest Bond film ever. And I like Skyfall a lot. I loved it. And it's right up there. But I don't know if it bumps out Casino Royale for me. I just fell in love with Casino Royale the first time I saw it. I loved that movie. And I may still prefer it over Skyfall. But, I mean, believe me, Dakota, you are in good company. A hell of a lot of people love that movie, too. It's great. And, yeah, you're not alone. All right. Chris Warden writes, Well, John, it happened again. A buddy and I were at work quoting famous lines from Dumb and Dumber, and none of the 20-something-year-olds knew what we were talking about. F, I'm old. There's no excuse for that. I don't care if you're 10. Like, there's certain movies you should see. Like, everybody's seen Wizard of Oz, and that was way before any of us were alive. All of us seen The Godfather, which is before most of us were alive. Dumb and Dumber, there's simply no excuse. One of the greatest comedies of all time. Yeah, they have no excuse. So the next time they don't know what you're talking about, yell at them, hand them a DVD of Dumb and Dumber, get your boss's permission to send them home, and say, don't come back to work until you've watched this movie. Because you got to watch Dumb and Dumber. It is today. It holds up. It holds up completely. It has not aged at all. It is a movie that holds up. It's as hilarious today as it was the first time you saw it. I love that film. But yeah, damn, that bugs me. That bugs me. All right, Nathan Oswald writes, did you think Thanos was going to get all the stones in Infinity War? I knew it was possible, but I didn't think so. I'll be honest. I honestly didn't think they would have him complete getting all of them in this movie. I didn't. I think I might have said that in a couple of shows too, that he won't get all the stones this time around. They got to save one or two of the stones for the next movie, don't they? For like Avengers 4. But he got them all. And, you know, this brings up an interesting discussion. There are still some people who think that Avengers Infinity War is just part one of a two-part story. It's not. Avengers Infinity War is a complete movie. But it ends on a cliffhanger. No, it doesn't. It doesn't end on a cliffhanger. It has a definitive ending. Thanos won. It had a definitive ending. Now, there are other movies that have definitive endings, and then they go on to have another chapter where they do something different. That's fine. But Avengers Infinity War is a standalone movie. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has a definitive end. The only thing is that it's not the kind of end you're used to. Because we're all used to the end where the good guy wins. And this was something where, nope, the villain's nefarious plot won out, and he won. And it ends with him sitting in the countryside, just like he described earlier, taking it in, taking a breath, self-satisfied that he believes he's done a great service for the universe. And it's an end. And the Russo brothers emphasize that in the director's commentary. This is a complete movie. And, but no, honestly, that's not the way I thought they were going to go. I thought he wouldn't get all the stones this movie, and they did. Let's see. Murray Reich writes, weirdest thing, saw a guy, bottom row, flashing a picture at the screen every few minutes until he stopped after movie started 15 minutes in. I don't understand what you're describing, Murray. Weirdest thing, saw a guy, bottom row, flashing a picture at the screen. What do you mean flashing a picture at the screen? Every few minutes until he stopped after the movie started 15 minutes in. Like he was showing a picture to the screen? Flashing a picture at the screen. Yeah, man, I don't know what we're... I can't picture the scenario in my head there, Murray. Sorry about that, dude. Nathan Oswald follows up. We're going to press on, and we're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby danced with Danny fucking Kaye. I don't know the reference. You're clearly doing a movie reference, and I can't for the life of me remember which one. So you got me on that one. Sven86 writes, have you seen Peter Jackson's earlier films? Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, Dead Alive. I love those movies and would love to see Jackson do more movies like these again. You know what? I don't think I've ever seen Bad Taste. I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen Meet the Feebles. I've seen Dead Alive. I do not... unless I'm forgetting that I've seen it. Hold on a second. Let me pull it back up. Pull it up. Bad Taste, Peter Jackson. No. In 1987... qualified as a splatter horror film. I've not seen that one. So that's one I got to put on my list to see. The other ones I have, but that one I haven't. I don't know that we'll ever see Peter Jackson do those again. I think now as a storyteller, like he worked his way up to a position now that he can tell these big, broad stories, whether it's King Kong or Lord of the Rings. And now he's producing like, What's the one with the rolling cities? I can't remember the name of it now. It's opening on December 21st against, or it's opening the weekend before December 21st. It's opening against Spider-Man Homecoming. It's Mortal Engines. That's what it's called. So he's got more. So he seems to really be at a place in his career now where now that he's got his name, he can make these big sweeping pictures that he likes to do. So I don't know that we'll ever see him do films like that again. And you know what? It's just as well. Let new up-and-coming filmmakers cut their teeth on those types of films and leave that for them. And let Peter Jackson do the things he's kind of built up towards. But yeah, I got to check out Bad Taste because I've never even heard of that one. Joshua Stevens writes, just seen the movie Gifted. Oh, I love Gifted. Chris Evans. It was great. Chris Evans showed how good of an actor he really is. Must see for those who haven't seen it. Well, let me... Okay, I shouldn't say I loved it. I really liked it. It's really good. But Chris Evans is... It's one of his best performances, I think. And sometimes actors' best performances aren't in their best movies. And that's fine, because all an actor can do... An actor can't make a bad movie good. All an actor can do is take the character they're given and portray that character as good as they can. And hopefully that'll elevate the movie a little bit, but it can only do so much, right? But Chris Evans, that might have been the performance of his career. I thought he was great in that. I really do. And I kind of, because of his performance in that, I kind of wish the movie got more attention than it did. But it didn't. Let's see. Jared Vester writes, if The Nun is successful financially and critically, would you consider the Conjuring universe to be a success? Or do you already consider the Conjuring universe success? Oh, it's successful. It's massively successful already. Hold a second. Let me just pull this up here. Let's see. So, we've got The Conjuring, the first movie, The Conjuring, and The Conjuring... Hold a second. The Conjuring was made for $20 million, made $319 million. The Conjuring was made for $20 million and made $319. The Conjuring 2 was made for $40 million and made $320 million. Annabelle was made for $6.5 million. Wrap your head around that. Annabelle was made for $6.5 million. Not $65 million, $6.5 and made $257 million. And then the most recent Annabelle 2, or Annabelle Creation, was made for $15 million and made $306 million. Do we already consider the Conjuring franchise successful? Oh, hell yes. Oh, hell yes. I mean, proportion-wise, ratio-wise, the Conjuring movies are more successful than Avengers Infinity War. Like, you're talking about a movie that made nearly 20 times its budget. 20 times its budget. When we're looking at Annabelle Creation. Annabelle Creation made over 20 times its budget. That's crazy. That's double, if you're talking ratio-wise, that's double the success of Avengers Infinity War. I mean, wrap your heads around that for a second. Conjuring is one of the most successful film franchises of all time. If you want to talk expense to profit ratio, it's crazy what Blumhouse, what these guys have done with this. I mean, it's absolutely nutty. So, do I consider the Conjuring universe successful? They're probably more successful. Again, if you boil it down to a ratio, they're more successful than the MCU. Those movies do more with little than any other film franchise ever. So, no, regardless of, nobody could go see The Nun. The Nun could make $0, and the Conjuring universe and the Conjuring franchise is still amongst, if not the most successful film franchise ever, if you want to talk about on a proportion ratio. It's crazy successful. So yes, I definitely already consider the Conjuring movies successful. All right. Leo Milmet writes, thoughts on Paths of Glory, 1957. Best ending ever, Paths of Glory. Is that the Kirk Douglas one? With the girl and the soldiers kind of in the bar and she's singing the song and everybody's singing along. Hold on a second. Let me just... Hold on a second. Paths of Glory. Yeah, that's right. It's the Kirk Douglas one, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, ooh, I saw that movie. God, I mean, I think I watched that movie when I was doing the movie blog. It's got to be almost 15 years since I've seen it. But if I'm remembering right, the last scene is a scene where the girl comes in and starts singing in German, I believe, and the soldiers are singing around, and it's like, this guy comes out and says, "We've been called back to the front," and Kirk Douglas says, "Give the men more time," or something like that. It's a great ending. I don't think of it in terms of amongst the greatest film endings of all time, but then again, it's been forever since I've seen it. So I would have to go back and revisit it to know that for sure. But off the top of my head, I personally wouldn't consider it one of the greatest endings ever. But again, maybe if I watched it again, I might totally change my mind. Joshua Stevens writes, "Have time to watch one movie tonight. Which should I choose? It Comes at Night or Red Sparrow?" Here's the thing. Red Sparrow is a movie I did not love. But they do some very interesting things in it. And there's certainly some very good performances. Obviously, you got Jennifer Lawrence. She's always going to give a good performance. You got Joel Edgerton in there. He's always going to give a good performance. And I like a lot of the stuff they did. Overall, at the end of the film, it was a little flat for me, and I didn't dig it. But I would recommend checking it out because I think there's enough good stuff in there that I think other people can watch and appreciate it more than I did. So while it is not my favorite movie, and I don't even know that I like it, it's not bad, but I don't know that I like it. I would recommend checking it out because I think there's enough in there that just because I didn't like it, I think other people may, and it may really work for you. So give that one a shot. Preston Walden writes, "Maybe blessing in disguise if we can get Wright to direct," talking about Edgar Wright, "to direct James Bond. Love to see what his direction on a Bond film will be." Yeah, so for those of you who didn't see, on the John Campea show this morning, we talked about the fact that there is reportedly a short list of about 5 names that the studio is looking at to replace Danny Boyle as the director of Bond 25. Most notably, a couple of the names are names that they were looking at before, like when they were also considering Danny Boyle. Those are still names that are around. But a new name on the list, that is clearly the sexy name on the list, it's Edgar Wright. Now, I'll emphasize here what I said this morning. I am not like, oh, it's got to be Edgar Wright. No, it doesn't have to be Edgar Wright. I think a lot of those other names would be great. I think there are a lot of names that weren't on that list that could do a great job of the Bond film. But I will admit that if they announce in the next couple of days that Edgar Wright is directing a James Bond film, I'm going to be very excited. That's very exciting. And the reason I like the Edgar Wright name, besides the fact that we're all Edgar Wright fans, besides that, the reason I like his addition, if they do it, is the fact that, as much as Daniel Craig is my favorite James Bond of all time, and I've loved Skyfall, Quantum of Solace, the one thing that this Bond, and Robert Meyer Burnett was pointing this out the other day, the one thing that this Bond has been missing is, like, the good shots of humor that we used to get in, like, the Sean Connery Bonds, right? Even to some degree, the Roger Moore Bonds, but more so the Sean Connery Bonds. And I think a guy like Edgar Wright, who's already shown with Baby Driver that he can direct heart-pounding action and give a real kinetic feel to the action on the screen, I think he could inject not too much, but just the right amount of some humor punch in there too, to just round out this Bond incarnation and maybe give us a really great send-off for Daniel Craig as Daniel Craig wraps up his tenure as James Bond. It could be really cool. So fingers crossed. But again, I don't think it has to be Edgar Wright. Another director can come in and do just as well, if not better. But I will be excited if it is Edgar. All right. Ant Banks, 1984 writes, "Avengers 4 battle scene. Thor motions for Stormbreaker. It flies past him and goes to Captain America. Book it." Never happened. Never happened. Nope, not in a million years. It's very The Force Awakens of you with Rey and Kylo Ren, but that's not going to happen. That is, I 100% guarantee you that will not happen in Avengers 4. 100% guarantee. Although I'll squeal like a little child if it does, because Captain America is my favorite character. Captain America has never been my favorite character in the comics or anything like that, but in the MCU, Captain America is easily my favorite character. And so I'll squeal like a child if it goes right past Thor and Captain America holds on. That would be pretty damn cool. I would love it, but it's not going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen. Dallas Persinger writes, American Animals, great heist film. See it. Yeah, a lot of people talking about that it's a really solid heist film. Not a lot of people see it. If I'm not mistaken, it's one of the films that MoviePass partnered up with. If I'm not mistaken. You know what? I forgot to do my daily check of the stock price of MoviePass. Last time I checked it was at 2 cents. It is now at 1.9 cents. MoviePass stock, or their parent company, Helios and Matheson, is now at 1.9 cents a share. Wow. Anyway, so there's that. Okay, let's move on here. Next up comes us from Razor Edge Frisbee. Oh, and I lost it because we had the big jump. Okay, here we go. Razor's Edge Frisbee writes, $14.99 for Upgrade on digital HD. Should I get it? I heard it was fantastic. I really liked Upgrade. I was late to the party on, but I really liked it. Here's what I would say. I don't think it's a $15 movie. I would say if it's not available for rent yet on digital, because, you know, they make it available for purchase first, and then after a few days, then you can rent it. Unless you're really dying to see it tonight, while I like Upgrade very much, I don't know that's a $15 purchase. I think it's more of a $5 rental. And I think you'll have a good time. I think you'll enjoy it. So I would personally wait a couple of days and then rent it. But if you're really feeling like you got to see it tonight, then sure, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, it's not the worst investment in the world. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie. And $15 ain't all that bad. But honestly, if you can wait a couple of days, I'd say wait a few days and then rent it streaming for $5. And I think you'll enjoy it. But that's just my recommendation. All right. Thomas Bergstrom writes, how Orwellian do you think Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be given the title? Could alternate or world expel Pine? Not quite sure what you're saying here. I don't think there's any connection. I honestly don't. Now, don't get me wrong. I, like you, Tomas, when I heard the subtitle of it is 1984, I instantly went there, just like you are. But honestly, I've seen no hint of any suggestion anywhere that there's any relation between the title of the movie and the classic 1984 novel. I haven't seen any connection there whatsoever. I think it's just the year that it's happening, 1984. And I think that's the beginning of it. I think that's the ending of it. I don't think it goes anywhere beyond that. But like you, that's the first thing I thought when I heard the title, but it seems like there's no connection there whatsoever. Ant Banks 1984, speaking of 1984, writes, could a movie like Blazing Saddles be made today? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. And I think it could work today. I mean, look, Blazing Saddles is one of those movies that, like The Godfather, I've had the opportunity to sit down with some friends at different times in my life that have never seen it and watch it with them for the first time and see them just die laughing. So I do think, because of that, I do think it's a movie that could be made today. It would take somebody gutsy to make it, but I do think it's... I mean, like, seriously, first of all, these are both... these are both from Mel Brooks classics, but you know what I think my all-time funniest line in any movie of all time is from Mel Brooks' Spaceballs. Now, and it's just the way Rick Moranis does it. But now, Lone Star, you will see that evil will always triumph because good is dumb. I have never laughed harder. I still laugh myself sick whenever I see it. To me, it is the single funniest line in movie history. Also in the top 10, though, of the single funniest lines in movie history, from Blazing Saddles, Where the White Women At? Oh my God, when he stands up and says that line, I almost want to spit. You know, people say they spit up like their soda. I almost spit up my lungs when that. I remember the first time I saw that, and he stands there and goes, "Where are the white women at?" Oh my God, I almost passed out. You ever laugh so hard that you're expelling all the air out of your lungs and you can't inhale, and suddenly the room starts to spin because you're not breathing because you're laughing so hard? I remember the first time I saw that movie and I heard that line for the first time. I thought I was going to die. And I didn't care that I was about to die because I was dying laughing. It was so funny. And they're both from Mel Brooks films. Anyway, yes, I do think you could. It would take somebody gutsy, but I do think you could do it. All right. Rob Metcalf writes, you leaving the corporate overlords gave me the confidence to follow my dream of running a comic convention now in our second year. Keep bringing that. That's awesome, Rob. Please drop in the chat board which comic convention that is. I'd be curious to know what comic, but that's awesome that you did that. Look, I think it's great. Look, I would always encourage anybody. Like, first of all, I think a lot of people have dream jobs in the corporate world. I think there are dream jobs for people in the corporate world. Whether it's, look, you just love numbers. Hey, look, seriously, I've got a friend that I grew up with. Loves numbers. Loves numbers. And today, surprise, surprise, he's a corporate accountant, right? And he loves his job. He finds something challenging every day in what he does, problems that only he can solve. It's a dream job. It's a dream job. And I think there's lots of people that can have dream jobs within the corporate world. Absolutely. But then there are some people who, that's not the best scenario for you. And I've always encouraged people, hey, look, if you've really got a dream for something else, but you are being held back from pursuing it because of your corporate job and the regular paycheck you get from it, plan it out. Make sure it's an educated risk. Make sure you've minimized your risk as much as you can. Understanding any type of a leap is always going to be a risk, but at some point, take the leap. Take the risk. As long as you've thought it out, you've minimized the potential downfall, you've thought it through, you think you have a reasonable chance of success, not a guarantee, not even 90%, but a reasonable chance that this could work, then give it a shot. Give it a shot. That's my advice. I'm no expert, but that's my advice. It's something that I've always done, and it's always worked for me. Not that everything I've ever attempted works. Obviously not. That's not the case. But yeah, just do that. And that's awesome, Rob, that you did that. And it sounds like you're pursuing your dream, and that's great. Leo Milmet writes, I want Holland in Venom as Judd, a dude who meets Hardy and goes out for coffee with him, and the first half to be a My Dinner with Andre with those two. That sounds thrilling, Leo. No, I'm going to say that doesn't sound so thrilling to me. But, well, look, that brings up a bigger topic, though. That there are still people out there who think Tom Holland is going to be in this Venom movie. Now, I have heard from somebody that it is definitely he's not in there. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I believe it. I would still, I have been told definitively that Tom Holland is not in the movie. But I don't know that I 100% believe that. I don't know if they're right. And I still think there's a 5% chance that maybe Tom Holland pops up in this. The ramifications of that would be monstrous. The ramifications of Tom Holland actually appearing in Venom would be oh my gosh, like a tectonic shift in the comic book movie world, if that really were to happen. 95% chance, which is almost a certainty, it's not. But I still think there is the tiniest sliver of a chance. If I had to bet $20 on it, I bet he's not. I really don't think he is. But I still think there's a slightest sliver of a chance. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when that all comes up. All right. Zeke Said So. I like that name. Writes, I just started college. Congratulations, man. This past week. And your videos have gotten me through the week. Love what you do. Keep up the great work. Thanks a lot, man. Dude, seriously, you know what me and Ann often talk about? We both love taking classes. I don't know what it is. Ann especially. Ann loves being either in school or in a school environment. So whenever her job affords her the opportunity to take training classes and things like this, she jumps all over it. My wife loves soaking in education, which is probably why she has 3 degrees. But she loves soaking in education. I love taking classes. As a matter of fact, I have a membership to lynda.com. For those of you who don't know, lynda.com is this online video tutorial thing. And I just have a membership to it because I just love learning new stuff. Right? whether it's new, Photoshop techniques, Premiere techniques, or even things like business project management techniques and things like I love learning. Love it. So I'm a little bit jealous of you. You get to go to college. That's great, man. Enjoy yourself. Have the best time of your life and score big on those things. All right. Leo Mamet follows up with, I had my bar mitzvah at Skirball Center. Oh, really? That's interesting. Like, actually, it's funny. I was talking to some people. Apparently, there's also like a Henson Museum there right now at the Skirball Center. I'll be honest with you. I'd never even heard of it. I live in LA, but everybody's like, no, the big place near the Getty. It's huge. I'm like, I didn't even know. But I've been looking at pictures of it. It looks awesome. So that's great. It's good to know. Thanks for sharing that with me, Leo. Let's see here. Michael the Bicycle writes, this week I saw for the first time LA Confidential, In Bruges, Mystic River, Half Nelson, Black Klansman, The Game, The Help, and Spectacular Now. Watching Happy Time in 30 minutes. Favorite film was The Help. Dude, I love The Help. First of all, let's run down this list here. LA Confidential, awesome. In Bruges, awesome. Mystic River, awesome. Half Nelson, great. Black Klansman, awesome. The Game is great. The Help, oh my God, I love The Help. I love that movie so much. I still remember, I went to go watch The Help at a press screening on the studio lot, right? And they had an embargo for it. But I came out of watching The Help, Emma Stone, Octavia Spencer, on and on and on and on. I came out of that movie bursting at the seams. And even though there was a review embargo, I pulled out my phone and instantly put it out on social media. I didn't say the name of the movie. And I wrote this, and I'll never forget doing this. I wrote, I just got out of seeing a movie that reminds me why I love the movies. I just got out of seeing a movie that reminds me about why I love the movies. And The Help is that. It is so brilliantly acted, so brilliantly directed, so poignant. It's heavy with brushes of lightness to make it flow. It's a powerful, engaging, emotionally moving, laughing. It's just an experience of a movie. I love that movie so much. And so I'm glad you added that in there too. Spectacular Now, I like. But now I get to see Happy Time Murders. Hey, one of these things is not like the others. Remember that Sesame Street game? So you got LA Confidential, Half Nelson, Black Klansman, and Happy Time Puppet Murders. So one of these things not like the other. But I hope you have a good time at Happy Time Murders tonight. But man, that is a great week of movie watching, man. That is a great week of movie watching. So you might have just spoiled yourself. Now, don't expect every week that you watch movies to be that good, but that is a great week of movie watching right there. All right. Alex Kahn writes, how would you get reviews for your short film? That's tough. That is tough. The reality is making short film. Well, first of all, making short films is great just for the experience of making short films. No one's going to get rich making short films. What you do is you make short films to sharpen your tools and also as calling cards like, hey, if you want to know what I can do as a director or as a screenwriter, as a cinematographer, whatever it is you're doing, if you want to see what I'm capable of, check out this short film. And it really becomes a piece of marketing for yourself. Getting reviews of short films is very tough. Take somebody like me, for example, and I represent probably most people in my position, right? Here's the thing. There's no motivation for me to review a short film. Number one, because the reality is the average movie-going audience don't care about short films. They just don't. Now, we can have the argument about whether they should or shouldn't care. We can have that discussion. But there's really no denying the vast majority of the movie-going audience does not care about short films. Therefore, why would I do a review of something that no one's going to watch? Right? Like, there are even some wide release films that I'm pretty sure no one's going to go see that, so I'm not going to waste my time doing a review for it, because what's the point of me doing a review, putting in all that time and energy and effort to put this video together, this review together, to put it up online that no one's going to watch? And that's going to be the struggle that a lot of people who make short films will run into. You're not going to find many people who will review your short film because there's no motivation for people to review it. Like somebody on a written blog, my readers aren't going to watch a short film, so why would I? And they're not even going to bother reading my article if I write it. I can do a video, but no one's going to watch my video. So it's tough. I think you need to approach making short film. And look, and I'm not the expert here, okay? I'm just giving you my opinion. I think you need to approach making short film understanding not a lot of people are going to see it because nobody cares. What you do, but that doesn't devalue short film. What you got to do is approach short film as a true practical way of working out your skills, of flexing your creative muscles. And if it turns out well, you got a great piece of marketing for yourself as a filmmaker. But I think therein lies the true value of short film. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on that. But it is, you're going to have a very difficult time finding people to review them. You will, unfortunately. Clay writes, let's see here. Would love to see more Thor and Daryl. He survived the snap, roommate shorts. But this time add Rocket to the mix. You know, I think they did another, I don't know if you saw it. They added another Daryl movie not so long ago. But it wasn't with Thor. It was with the Grand Master. Jeff Goldblum did it, where he was talking about making Daryl his minion and all that kind of stuff. If you haven't seen it, I highly encourage you to look it up. I love the Thor and Daryl shorts. In case you didn't know, Taika Waititi is the one who created those and directed those. And so you can kind of see that. It's like, oh yeah, well that's why we got the Thor we got in Thor Ragnarok, right? I would love to see more Thor and Daryl. Now, adding Rocket that's troublesome. Now you got to actually spend $1 million to make it. Because, yeah, do motion capture, do a full CGI character in the shots and scenes, that becomes more difficult. So probably leave that out of it. The cool thing about these Thor and Daryl videos is that they just, hey, we got a couple guys together, let's shoot for half a day, make this, done, put it up, right? Doing something with a full CGI character would be troublesome, to say the least, but I'm with you, Clay. I would love to see more episodes of Thor and Daryl. I would love to see more of those. Sid Vicious writes, have you seen 1977 Sorcerers, directed by William Friedkin? A truck needs to carry liquid dynamite through the South American jungle. You know what? Wait a second. I think I have, but I might not. Let me just double check. I think I have. Let me just make sure that I know what I'm talking about. And oh no, that's not the one I was thinking of. It's the one. Is that the one with Roy Schneider? It is the one with Roy Schneider. Okay, I have not seen it. I have never seen it. So, nope. But holy crap, that sounds amazing. That sounds really cool. I was 4 years old when it came out, so I didn't see it. But that sounds amazing. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for the heads up, Sid. Let's see. Nerd Polemist writes, I was reading that 26 staffers, including an executive producer of The Talking Dead, resigned in protest of Chris Hardwick being reinstated by AMC. Do you think the show has a chance of surviving? I did not see that. Hold a second. When did this news come out? Hardwick, Talking Dead. Let me see here. Let's see. The playlist has a story of Chris Hardwick returns to Talking Dead as several members of crew quit in protest. That's interesting. I didn't know about that. I didn't know that several members of the show quit over that. Look, here's my thoughts on the whole Chris Hardwick situation. Oh yeah, I guess this was all over the news. Yeah, Talking Dead staff quit over Chris Hardwick turn. A female executive producer and a handful of the show staff of approximately 25 have fled since AMC announced Hardwick would resume his role as the host of The Walking Dead after show, according to new reports. Blah, blah, blah. Wow. I honestly didn't know that. What I hope that doesn't mean is that all the staff knows that that a bunch of the staff knows that he acts a certain way, and when AMC let him back in, they decided to leave. I hope that's not the case. Look, with the Chris Hardwick situation, it's simply this. I don't know what happened. You don't know what happened. I take AMC at their word that AMC, I think by the way, forget the results because I don't know what happened, right? But I think AMC acted very responsibly, right? Serious allegations came up with somebody who clearly was very close with Chris Hardwick for a long time. AMC suspended him and then initialized an investigation of their own. Now, apparently, I don't know what they uncovered and what they didn't, but apparently whatever it is they uncovered and whatever information they gathered led them to feel that, you know what, we feel comfortable that Chris should be reinstated. And they reinstated him. I think they acted perfectly fine. I think they acted very, very well. Now, again, I don't know what information they uncovered that led them to feel like this is fine. Apparently, it wasn't good enough for one of the producers or some of the other staff members. But again, I'm not there and I don't know. All I can do as an average, television viewer is hope that the company does some due diligence. And I think they acted perfectly appropriately. They looked at it, they said, hey, while we're looking into this, we're going to suspend you for now, while we look into it. And then they looked into it and said, these are our conclusions. We feel comfortable bringing Chris back in. And that's what they did. But I got to admit, I have never heard about this story about a producer and several crew members quitting over him being brought back. So I don't know if that means they knew more stuff than is public knowledge. I don't know. So I'm just going to leave it at I don't know and just carry on. But that is interesting to hear. That's very interesting to hear. Let's see. Leo Milmet writes, I hate Wizard of Oz, Gladiator, Rocky, and Top Gun. Oh my God. Okay. Well, Leo, like I always say, all film is subjective. Not every movie is for everybody. And if those films don't work for you, no matter how much other people love them, doesn't matter. If they don't work for you, they don't work for you. Nothing more to be said about it. Joe Byram writes, nothing's free in Waterworld. I really like this movie. I only have one problem with it. How do you live in Waterworld and not know how to swim? Interesting question. You know what's funny? I also don't mind Waterworld. I think Waterworld's a pretty good movie. Now, it is infamous in Hollywood. It will go down in infamy in Hollywood history as one of the most out-of-control spending, over-budget movies of all time. Hence the fact that it was a financial disaster. But that aside, Waterworld's a pretty good movie. It gets a lot of bad rap and has this bad stigma attached to it, but I think that's mostly because of the financial woes that the movie had. Honestly, I think the movie's pretty good, Joe. I'm with you on that. I like that movie. I think it's good. And somebody brought up the other day the Waterworld attraction at Universal Studios Hollywood. It's always been a fun attraction too, but yes, count me as one of the people that likes Waterworld. Damn right. Let's see. Leo Milmet writes, 8th grade, thoughts, still haven't watched it. Still haven't gotten around to watching it. It's playing right up the street for me, so I have no excuse. But this week, look, you guys know for the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about, without giving any details, I'm in the middle of working out a deal. A company has come to me and made me a proposal and an offer. I replied to the offer with, this sounds good, and it does, it's pretty exciting. I can do it if conditions A, B, C, D, E, right? In these conditions, I will accept that offer. So for the past, they came to me a few weeks ago. I mulled it over for about a week, talked to Ann about it, blah, 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 then replied to them saying, hey, I can do it if we do this, and this. And now they've been taking time, and we've been having some communication and making really good headway, and we will know by next week. And then I can let you guys in on what's going on. And even if we don't make this deal, if this doesn't happen, I will let you guys know what it was. All right? But I'm having a meeting on Tuesday night, and that meeting will kind of finalize whether it's something I'm going to do or something I'm not going to do. I can tell you this, regardless, the John Campea show is here to stay. The John Campea show is not ending. The John Campea show is not going anywhere. My YouTube channel is not going anywhere, nothing like that, so don't worry. It'll mean some changes. But again, I can't give any specific details right now. But I will let you guys know one way or the other when it comes around. But because that has been occupying a hell of a lot of my time, there are a couple of smaller films that I've really wanted to see that I just haven't gotten out to see. Like, my time's been so tight that even when Ann and I, to finally see Black Klansman, we were out at another screening. We were at a press screening for Happy Time Murders and said, look, let's be honest. I don't know when we're going to get a chance to see Black Klansman. Why don't we, there's like a 9:50 tonight here in this same theater. Why don't we just get tickets and see it then? Even though it was a work night and we weren't going to get home till 1 in the morning, that's how we squeezed it in. So there's a bunch I haven't had a chance of seeing, so have still not had a chance to see it yet. Nathan Oswald writes, Goldfinger is my favorite Bond film. I mean, look, there are some classic Bond films. There are some classic Bond films out there for sure. Everybody, you know what? I love Octopussy. A lot of people bash on them. I love Octopussy. I think it's great. Goldfinger is great. There's a whole bunch of really good ones. But hey, that's the great thing about there being so many Bond films and so many different guys who played Bonds. All of us have different favorites, whether it's different guys playing the role, different individual movies, whatever. But that's not a bad choice. All right, Justin Nolan writes, people saying Episode 7 of Star Wars did nothing different. It was great in my opinion. Han's death, Leia and Finn's character progression, necessary world building. Oh, I agree. Look, here's where I think people get confused. To say Star Wars Episode 7 did nothing different is ridiculous. What is fair to say, what is totally fair to say, is that they did a number of things that were echoes of the original Star Wars. That's totally fair to say. However, to take a few handful of examples of things that were very similar in the original does not paint the whole canvas and say, oh, they did nothing new and different in this. That's completely incorrect. That's completely incorrect. Did they clearly take some things from the original Star Wars? Yes. Was that intentional? Yes, because they wanted to give a feel of familiarity to the universe again. I think that's part of the reason that the film is the third highest grossing box office film of all time. It's because they built in those familiar elements, especially coming out of the prequel era. You know, the prequels are so divisive and all. A lot of people abandon Star Wars because of the prequels, blah, blah, blah. So what JJ did was he started off a new trilogy, but he started off with a number of very familiar elements to make the audience feel at home again. And I believe that is part of the reason that The Force Awakens didn't just have this massive opening weekend, but also people went back to see it a second and third and fourth and fifth time. You know, more people went to go see Star Wars The Force Awakens than went to go see Avengers Infinity War. So, I mean, it was something that was, I believe, deliberate, and it was something that I believe paid off. And I mean, that's obvious. The fact that it paid off, it's obvious. So, fair to say, like, they took some tropes from Star Wars, absolutely. Like, really? Another Death Star? Really? But to say that that painted the whole picture and it's just they did nothing different, I disagree with that entirely. I think one thing is fair to say, but you don't take it too far and pretend like they did nothing different, because that's just not true. Let's see. Joe Byram. Where'd we go? We had another jump here. Just a couple of minutes left here, guys, and we got to wrap up. Joe Byram writes, Lady Hawk with Michelle Pfeiffer is also pretty, and Rutger Hauer. Why am I forgetting Ferris Bueller's name? Why am I forgetting Ferris Bueller's? Anyway, what kills me about Lady Hawk is you've got this sword and sandal era movie, right? And I love Lady Hawk, by the way. And Rutger Hauer is awesome in it. But you got this sword and sandal era movie with these 1980s techno synth music. It's a little bit off-putting. I'll admit, the soundtrack's a little bit off-putting. But other than that, I love Lady Hawk. I think Lady Hawk's great. Nerd Polemus writes, be thankful that your meaningless lives are now contributed to the balance. Tom Von Lauer is incredible. He's the guy who played Ma, isn't he? By the way, I don't think that's specifically the line. Hold on a second, let me just make sure that... But I don't think that's specifically the line. Yes, it was. He did play. He played Ma. Rejoice, for in your deaths you become children of Thanos, or something like that is the line. Anyway, the dude, that character, had so many great, memorable lines in that movie. I love that character. I was honestly a little bit heartbroken when he died. I was a little bit heartbroken when he died because I just even love the way he spoke, the way he carried himself, you know? I loved him. So yeah, I understand they had to get rid of him, but I was a little bit bummed out when he died. Okay, let's see. John Benedict writes, "Hey John, just read the news that Dominic Moynihan is returning with J.J. Abrams for episode 9. Thoughts?" I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know that I have any thoughts. I guess it all depends on what character they want him to play. I mean, because remember, Daniel Craig was in Star Wars The Force Awakens. You just never saw his face. He was a stormtrooper. Simon Pegg was in Star Wars The Force Awakens, right? He was Unkar Plutt, but you never saw his face. So when they're saying Dominic Moynihan's going to be in it, I haven't read the report myself. It looks like it came out about an hour ago. I've been doing this show for about an hour, so I haven't been on the news feeds. But I don't know whether to be excited about that or not, because if it's going to be... Look, I like him very much as an actor. I loved him in Lost. Obviously, I love him in Lord of the Rings. If he's coming to play a character, that's interesting. If he's coming in like Daniel Craig or Simon Pegg, then not as much. Or Grunberg or whatever, that's just in there for a second or two and then gone. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll have to wait to see. Give me a chance to read the article. So once I read the article, I'll formulate a better opinion about it, I guess. Casanova Frankenstein, one of my favorite all-time movie villains from Mystery Men. Casanova Frankenstein writes, favorite Tim Burton movie? Probably, it's either Batman or his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie. Which is funny because most people are Tim Burton fans. I'm not. But people who are Tim Burton fans don't seem to like his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, and I do. I like his... I thought it was... Look, was it as good as the original and have the magic of the original? Of course it didn't. No, of course it didn't. I still thought it was pretty damn good. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, did he not direct Pee-wee's Big Adventure? I think he directed Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Directed by Tim Burton. Yeah, so you gotta at least have Pee-wee's Big Adventure in there somewhere, right? But I'll lean towards a tie between Batman and his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie. Let's see. Froygon Jin writes, if you were cast as a hotshot pilot in Top Gun 2, what would your call sign be? Oh, simple, Rampage. Rampage is a nickname I got in high school when I was playing football. But don't get me wrong. It's not like I was some all-star and, oh, he plays with Frosty, he's Rampage. Nah, just everybody got nicknames, and that was one I got. It was nothing to it. But the more important symbolism of the name Rampage is that it was probably the role-playing game character I played the longest. I think the longest campaign I ever played in, because I'm a big fan of tabletop, pencil and paper and dice role-playing games. And we've got a Dungeons & Dragons group that we run on Sunday nights. But the game I used to play the most was this D10-based system called DC Heroes. That was the name of the game. It was a role-playing game, DC Heroes. And it was based on this brilliant D10 system. It was a great system. My second favorite system, right next to West End Games' D6 system for their old Star Wars games. Anyway, I had this superhero character that was named Rampage. And I played that character probably more than any other role-playing game character I ever had. And the problem was he got to the point where he got so strong, that he got so powerful, that I didn't play him anymore. And I played him for a couple of years. So I stopped playing him. So what I did was, when I was running our next big game, I was the game master for one of our DC Heroes role-playing games, and I decided to have Rampage become a villain. And I used Rampage, my character, as the antagonist in the new role-playing game, in the new session, so that our players would have to actually play against and fight Rampage. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. But that's why if I was going to be cast as a hotshot pilot, the name I would take is Rampage, just because my connection to my old role-playing game character. ZMG Ruler writes, why didn't Thor cut off Thanos' arm? How it should have ended, and HT, I don't know what HT is, for the win. Probably because he thought it was done. I mean, I think there was a very human sense of self-satisfaction when he threw Stormbreaker deep into the chest of Thanos. I think he thought that was it. He's done. Ha! And he took a moment to gloat. I mean, and it's understandable. This is the dude who killed half of his people, he killed his brother, he killed his best friend in front of his eyes, and was on a quest to destroy half the life in the universe. So he took a moment to gloat. And I don't think he realized that moment to gloat was going to lead to the end of half the life in the universe. Now, everybody wants to be mad at Star-Lord for punching Thanos, when I contend that was perfectly rational of him. What you really should be mad at was Thor taking that split second to gloat. Instead of coming back down, immediately pulling Stormbreaker out and immediately decapitating the guy. That's what he should have done. But nope, he had to land. I told you I would kill you for that. Ah, Thor. You had him. You had him. But you had to gloat. But I also kind of appreciate that because that's the humanity of the character, right? So I got that. But yeah, a lot of different things that should have happened in that movie. Final question of the day comes to us from Nassim Rabahi, who writes, I think Joaquin Phoenix Joker is a bad idea. Not because the movie will be bad. I think it will be good, but we will only get a one and done movie. We would then have to go back to the divisive Jared Leto Joker. Thoughts? I disagree with you. Some of the greatest films of all time are one-shot movies. There's nothing wrong with that. There's never anything wrong with getting a great movie. And if Joaquin Phoenix gives us a great movie, great. That's all we should really be looking for. Yeah, that's all we should really be looking for, is a great movie. And so the idea that it's a bad idea because it might be a good movie. Nah, a good movie's a good movie. Look, if they don't do it, then all you're left with is... And by the way, I like Jared Leto's Joker. I do. I think Jared Leto's Joker is pretty good. That might... I don't have the time to take that right now, so I'm going to have to send that away. But I like Jared Leto's Joker. Sorry, it's rude to have a phone on, but you guys know me. Until my mom's 100% back on her feet, and she's doing great, by the way. My mom's doing awesome. But until she's 100% back on her feet, I keep my phone with me at all times, and I keep my ringer on just in case. So I apologize for that. If you don't do the movie, then all you've got is the Jared Leto Joker. Right? So, yeah, I think it's perfectly good. I'm excited about it. I think it's a great idea for them to do this movie, and I'm really looking forward to it. You've got... obviously, Joaquin Phoenix, who's super picky about the movies he'll be involved with. Clearly, he read the script and must have thought it's fantastic. He's saying the portrayal of this character terrifies him. That's awesome to hear. You got Robert De Niro involved in it, one of the all-time great actors. I mean, there's a lot of oomph coming to this. And they're moving on it pretty quickly. Now, remember, they're not rushing it. They already had all the script developed. They've been working on this thing forever. So they had all that prepared, and now they're ready to move. And I got to tell you, man, I'm personally very, very excited. So again, yeah, you make it as good, and then it's done, and all you got is a Jared Leto Joker. Well, yeah, but if you don't do it, then all you've got is a Jared Leto Joker, and you don't have a great movie. I mean, and who knows? I mean, maybe the Joaquin Phoenix movie turns out bad. I mean, maybe it does. But let's go with the assumption that it turns out great. So you can either have the Jared Leto Joker with a great standalone Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, or you can have just the Jared Leto Joker without also having a great Jared Leto. I mean, it seems to me pretty obvious. Go for the one that also gives you a great movie, right? Anyway, that's just how I see it. Anyway, guys, that will do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Listen, that'll do it for our live shows for this week. We'll be back again, of course, on Monday. And don't forget, keep your eyes open this weekend, because, of course, over the weekend, we're going to have some companion videos coming your way as well. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. My name's John Campea. Thanks so much, guys, for joining me. I hope you guys have an awesome, relaxing, fun-filled weekend. Make sure you party responsibly. Be good to each other. That'll do it for me. Until the next video, bye-bye.